The book of Genesis, while it appears as the first book in the Bible, was not necessarily the first book written. Some of the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible, or as Jewish people refer to it, the Tanakh, was written during what is known as the First Temple period. The temple in Jerusalem was the pride and joy of the ancient Jews. God had given them instructions on how to build it. It was where they could offer sacrifices to God. They could receive forgiveness and blessings. And crucially, it contained the Holy of Holies, the section of the temple where the ancient Jews believed God dwelt among humanity. However, in the year 587 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar from the Babylonian Empire entered Jerusalem, set fire to the temple and destroyed it, and took as prisoners many of the residents of Jerusalem and from around Judea, particularly many of those in power and of influence. The Book of Kings says this of that time: "He carried away all Jerusalem and all the officials and all the mighty men of valor, 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and the smiths. None remained except the poorest people of the land." They were taken to the ancient city of Babylon, approximately 900 miles to the east of Jerusalem. Whilst this was initially a time of great sadness for the ancient Jews, as it says in the book of Psalms, "By the rivers of Babylon we sat and wept," it was also a time of transformation. The Babylonian exiles kept their ancient faith alive. They told stories, they gave their children Hebrew names, and they celebrated Passover. There were prophets who arose during that time and gave them hope on behalf of God, including the prophet Ezekiel, who had a vision of a valley of dry bones, and God turning those dry bones into living humans filled with breath and becoming a vast army. It is in this context that many Hebrew texts were written, including the stories of creation. So we have a people who have been taken out of their promised land, far from home. They had seen the temple destroyed, they had experienced hardship. There was a feeling of darkness and despair. So what does God say to the darkness in the first creation story? Let there be light. They had seen the temple destroyed, the temple where they believed God's presence could be found. But on the seventh day, God rests in his creation. God was reminding the Jews that his presence was not limited to one building or place. His presence was throughout his creation. And crucially, when God made humanity, he made them in his image. In Babylon, the Jews would have seen images of the Babylonian deities, but here they are being reminded that they themselves reflect God, that they were his images. With the help of the creation stories and other parts of the Old Testament, we can see how the ancient Jews experienced a renewal of faith, a trust in God in spite of darkness and hopelessness. In the creation stories, we read how Adam and Eve are cast out of the Garden of Eden, and yet God still makes them clothes. He allows them to stay alive, and he gives a prophecy to the serpent that one day a descendant of Eve would crush his head. This is a story of hope, of God staying with his people, even when all seems lost. It's also a story teaching the ancient Jews to be grateful, that this world is a gift, and they need to treasure it and protect it. The creation stories offer us a window into the past, to a community growing in hope, and offering this hope out to the whole world.